called Tim McIndoe.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I'm pleased to take a call in this Crown Entities debate in my capacity as Chair of the Justice and Electoral Committee. The J&E Committee has attempted this year to review all the Crown entities for which we have oversight. That's a fairly tall order. Some, such as the Abortion Supervisory Committee and the Law Commission, are reviewed quite rarely. So I want to thank members of the committee, one of whom is right behind me at the moment, for their attention to this most important aspect of our function of scrutiny this year. But another of those entities, which is also reviewed only periodically, and which I wish to focus on here, is the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. I'm confident that well, it depends, Ms Moroney, on which of your parents you listen to. My mother always said privacy, my father always said privacy. Dad's dead, so I tend to stick with Mum in case she might be listening. But I'm confident that all members of this House would agree that we are fortunate to have a Commissioner of the calibre and experience of Marie Schroff. She has a very proud record of public service in New Zealand. As is the case with many Crown entities in the current fiscal environment, demand for their services is often increasing while funding necessarily remains static. And that is certainly true of the Privacy Commissioner, which is an independent Crown entity established under the Privacy Act of 1993. And just for the benefit of the many people who are listening in the gallery at the moment, or who may be watching on their television sets at home, it may be useful to explain that the Commissioner has wide-ranging functions, including, but not limited to, investigating complaints about breaches of privacy, running privacy education programs, examining the privacy implications of bills, maintaining the Privacy Act's information privacy principles, safeguarding human rights, ensuring New Zealand meets its international privacy obligations and adheres to general international guidelines, and protecting social interests that compete with privacy, such as freedom of information. And that last function in particular requires particular wisdom, discernment and constant vigilance. The Commission's work has to adapt rapidly to emerging trends and technologies, and demand for it is ever increasing. In spite of budgetary constraints and growing demand, the Commissioner has improved its productivity and service quality, and we were very pleased as a committee to hear that and to be able to commend the Commissioner for that achievement. Mr Chair, we were advised that over the last 5 years there's been a substantial increase in public complaints lodged with the Commissioner. Media inquiries have doubled, and telephone and email inquiries have also increased by about 50%. We were told that about 10,000 calls are made to the Commissioner's inquiries line every year. There isn't a minister responsible for privacy issues, so the Commissioner is the only legitimate source for media information on matters pertaining to privacy. The Commissioner expects the number of inquiries to continue to increase as privacy and accidents are increasing because of the large databases of personal information held by public agencies. We had an interesting discussion with the Commissioner about the implications of ever-evolving technology, especially social media. The Commissioner is concerned at evidence that employers in the United States are increasingly requesting access to or passwords for prospective employees' social media accounts. That's a really worrying trend, and apparently it's quite common now in the United States. Fortunately, it isn't yet thought to be a problem here in New Zealand, but the Commissioner is aware of the possibility of it and will remain vigilant. We also discussed the very real and growing problem of cyberbullying, especially among young people. We all know that this can lead, and indeed has led, to some considerable distress and tragic outcomes. So we were very pleased to hear that information kits for teachers on protecting online privacy were distributed to secondary schools several years ago, and that the Commissioner has recently received funding from UNESCO for a similar initiative for primary schools. Mr Chair, this is a Crown entity performing a very valuable public service. They have sensible priorities and a very realistic understanding of the current fiscal environment. So I am confident, and indeed all of the committee were confident as we met with them and conducted this financial review, that New Zealanders are well served by the office of our Privacy Commissioner.
Members, the question is that the report of the Justice and Electoral Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the Privacy Commissioner be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Members, I understand the next committee that members wish to debate is the Electricity Corporation of New Zealand Limited. The question is that the report of the Commerce Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the Electricity Commission of New Zealand Limited be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. I understand that the next entity members wish to debate is New Zealand Post Limited. The question is that the report of the Commerce Committee on the 2010-11 financial review of the New Zealand Post Limited be noted. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Point of order, Louise Upston.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. We seem to have some of the issues that we wish to discuss to debate have been passed. Are we still able to do that?
Well, I need to know which ones they are because on the list.
Genesis Power, please.
Which one?
Genesis Power.
Well, if you wish to debate that, you can, but that's not on the list that I was going to. So, order. I understand then that members wish to debate the entity Genesis Power Limited.
Go.
Jonathan Young.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very pleased to stand.